Hello everyone and welcome to the April update for the Queensland Thoroughbred Owners Association, and CEO Ben Mannion joins us as usual. Ben, it's a touch of sadness today. You'll be joining us. This will be the final update from your perspective because you're leaving in the role as CEO, but the good news is, the silver lining to that is you're still staying involved.
Yeah, I think I'll always try and be involved in horse racing and ownership, particularly Adam. But yeah, made the decision this month to hand in my resignation as CEO after what has been 2 years of setting up the Qtoa. It's now in a really good position with a number of members, and obviously financially we're going okay as well. So for me, it was always about initially just getting it off the ground and then handing it over, and I think right now is the right time to do that. And the opportunity for me, particularly around sport and major events, is what my background is. An opportunity came up, and I've taken it. So sad from an owner's perspective, owners association perspective, but as I said, the association's in a really good position, and for everything that we've done over the last 2 years, we want to continue to build on that.
Sure, yeah. Well, I know, speaking for Chairman Qtoa, who's touched on Ben's involvement more in his Chairman's report this month, and also all the staff that have worked with you. We've obviously loved working with you and appreciate everything that you've done to get the Qtoa off the ground and
Thanks, Adam.
and continuing to push ahead. So great to see that it won't be the last we see of you. Anyway, we'll still be seeing you around the traps, and you'll still have an involvement. Also, on a sad note, obviously it's been quite a tragic month for racing participants, everyone that's involved in the industry. Firstly, obviously the recent one being the passing of Dean Holland, prominent jockey in Victoria.
Yeah.
Obviously a really tragic one, and then also prominent owner, Queensland owner Alan Acton as well, in an accident away from the track.
Yeah, it's been a really difficult month, hasn't it? And there's obviously a number of jockeys as well that have hurt themselves over the last couple of months as well. It's it doesn't go by a day where we think about those sorts of things and the risks that those jockeys put their lives in, and some of those jockeys, 50 kilogram people up against 500 kilogram animal, and sometimes that's going to play out like it has really recently, particularly with Dean Holland. And we send all our best to all his friends and family, and we're thinking of all the jockeys as they go out and go to work and do their thing each and every day. So and then with Alan, who's been a wonderful servant for ownership in Queensland, had some great success. Think about Outback Barbie and the wonderful times he's had with Outback Barbie, and there's a race coming up which we'll talk about, the Archer, and he'll have Surf Dancer in that, and there won't be a dry eye in the house if that horse gets up, and we wish his family all the best with that race, but also with the passing. We send our biggest and deepest condolences to you, and hopefully you're getting through it okay.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, it'll be great to see those famous colours, I guess, that we've all come to know, the green and white in the Archer. So,
yep.
All right, well, speaking of the Archer and things going on and off the track, lots been happening within the Qtoa, and obviously this month people would have seen in the newsletter that there was the CrossBet Mates Cave, which obviously was a great day that's put on, and it was a good success from everyone's point of view.
Yeah, hosted out there by Alex Panklis and his team. Novotel are a great supporter of ours through the newsletter, but we had the event out at the CrossBet Mate Cave out at the Pullman Hotel, or the Ibis, and fantastic day. It was about 50 people that showed up, and we want to build on that. But some great activations there with CrossBet on the day, and also we had a number of partners, including Will Vella, who gave away some prizes in relation to best dressed, and some people that needed some help on the day. So, which was a great initiative. So thank you to Mark and his team with Will Vella, and we also had Fan Favourite attend as well, one of our great newsletter partners as well. So great initiatives. We think that we can build on that day, as I said, and we had some really great feedback and some really great people that attended the day. So looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, well, good to see partners Will Vella helping people out with the dress code, and for those of you that do read the newsletter, also you should take notice. There's a few little tips in this week's newsletter about some some do's or do nots over the Winter Carnival for the dress code there?
There were some people that we handed out an encouragement award, let's call it, and there was it was very hard, let's say, to find a winner because there were so many people that probably needed a little bit of help from Mark and Will Vella. So yeah, make sure you get there and support Will Vella, particularly leading into the Queensland Racing Carnival. They're doing some great offers for racing people, men and women, so make sure you support them where you can.
For sure. Well, sounds like it was a great success, so well done to everyone involved that got that initiative off the ground, and I guess that's the type of thing that you've been pushing to do, whether it be for commercial partners or just more events for and offerings for QTOA members. So I guess this is the start of something.
Yeah, I think we reflect over the last 2 years, and what we wanted to do from the beginning was essentially provide a communication tool to owners, as well as having a seat with Racing Queensland on a number of issues, but also find partners that wanted to work with owners throughout the year and see where they can marry up and support each other. So I think we've been able to do that with a number of our partners, and it's been great that we have had those partners through the last couple of years. We now have a seat at the table with Racing Queensland. We're now part of the discussion with them around key issues. We now have a seat at the table with Qtoa, and we're included in the Qtoa stakeholder reference group. So we're getting involved. We're getting to find out and have find out information and then pass that on to our owners. But we're also part of the decision-making process, which is really great as well. So I think for me, as we move forward, and Adam, you do a wonderful job with the newsletter and pulling that together, but we really need some more owners' stories. We want to be able to hear from people out there across Queensland and tell us your stories effectively. If you've had some great success, or you might have had your first winner or whatever that looks like, we want to hear those stories. So CEO@qtoa.com.au is the best place to send those stories, and then hopefully we can get more stories in our newsletter and continue the tradition of telling some of those stories through that medium as well. So yeah.
Yep, no, well said. There's lots of ownership stories out there, and that's the challenge for the QTOA. We'd love to tell these stories, but it's all about knowing about the story. So
just a quick one while I think of it. We were contacted by an owner throughout the month who was having issues with being able to keep one of his horses on the farm, and through the QTOA and the relationship we've got with the Off the Track program, which we'll talk about in a second, we were able to make sure that horse was looked after, and there's more and more stories like that I think that we can tell within the newsletter. So I think if you have stories or you have issues where you're looking to maybe you've got a horse that needs some support going forward, particularly after it's been racing, let us know and we can see where we can help them out. So there's more and more stories out there. We just need to know about them.
Yep. No, for sure. So, that dovetails into the Off the Track program, which I guess the QTOA been great supporters of since day one. Last month we spoke about a new animal care, equine welfare payment, which is being taken out of prize money, and there's an update on that scenario.
Yeah, so in December last year, when the announcement of prize money was made, there was a 5% over 250 that would go to equine welfare or animal care. I don't want to say it slipped through the radar because we sort of knew about it, and a number of people knew about it, but I think it's first showed its face again around the Queensland Qtoa Duel.
Yeah.
And there was a number of owners, trainers, and even clubs that came to us and sort of said, we need to find out a little bit more about this. So, we've been in discussions with the Thoroughbred Alliance, which is the breeders, trainers, owners, jockeys, as well as Racing Queensland and a number of clubs over the month of April. And Racing Queensland have listened, and we are any day now waiting, on an outcome of what that is. But I think for us, the main thing is we need some consultation, or a bit more consultation on, how big the problem is. I know the Off the Track program, essentially want to double their expenditure and look after. There's a lot of people that do need support, but I think they've taken their time really well, and if everyone that came to them. That they paid out based on everyone that came to them, they wouldn't have any money, effectively. So they just want to make sure that they spend the money in the right areas. And now they've approved a budget going forward. I think that the owners, particularly as well as the Trainers Association and breeders, can play a role in let's understand what the problem is, and then work on a way that we can help fund, not just come up with a figure of 5% over 250. I think there's other ways that we can potentially look at it. So hopefully by the end of April, we will get some news as to what that is, and we can work with Racing Queensland over the Queensland Racing Carnival and making sure that the funds go to the right places.
Okay, well said. Obviously stay tuned for more info on that one. On the track, launch of the Queensland Winter Carnival, the vests are on, the winter has arrived. There's obviously been some great black type racing even over the last fortnight prior to the start, but the carnival officially gets underway this week, and obviously there was a launch event at the Brisbane Racing Club last week.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to go to that launch, and Kate Waterhouse came up from Sydney. Obviously had some great success last year with the Stradbroke winner in Alligator Blood, so congratulations to them. And you know what I'll say, and the feedback from a lot of people that were in the room is that the Southern Raiders are coming for this carnival. They're expecting a big contingent of people coming and horses coming up from Sydney and Melbourne, and you know, with the new prize money that's been announced recently across the board for the Queensland Racing Carnival, I think that trainers will look at aiming their horses at some of these great races, and you know, some magnificent races coming up over the next month or two in the lead up to Stradbroke. So the Star Stradbroke, a great supporter of racing as well. So you know, looking forward to seeing races all across Southeast Queensland, but particularly back at headquarters at the BRC, and Eagle Farm is absolutely playing so well at the moment. You know, there's the feedback from trainers is, well, there is no feedback. So, which means that it's great.
No news is good news.
No news is good news. So I think, you know, leading into that, I think, you know, some great races, as I said, and some great opportunities for owners to take out some great prize money.
Yeah, and there's obviously the bonuses that have been announced too. There's a story in the newsletter this month about that with some more info. Obviously, there's been the Hollandale bonus, which has been in existence for the last couple of years for the winners of that, then going on to the Q22 and Doomben Cup. There's also other bonuses in and around that, so great to see.
Yep.
Also, the Archer, huge one for the Rockhampton Amateurs Club with the Archer, and some big names heading up there for that, and obviously this is an event that's continuing to gather momentum.
And I think, you know, well done to Racing Queensland and the Rocky Amateurs, moving the race day to a Sunday to accommodate making sure we can get some of the best jockeys up there as well, and not clashing with any other races, which is fantastic. I think it clashed with maybe Hollandale last year around about that time, but this year standalone meeting in Rockhampton. And the lineup has been fantastic. Group 1 winners, you know, Group winners as well throughout the field. You look at Vega 1 Star Tontes that stand out. Group 1, Alpine Edge is flying at the moment, and you know, obviously won Magic Millions Day and ran well in the King of the Mountain up in Toowoomba. And then you've got you know, Surf Dancer for the Acton family, and you know what they've been going through in the last month. So there's lots of stories obviously there, and you look back to Emerald Kingdom, and I remember Emerald Kingdom because I backed it last year. And you know, Rob Heathcote obviously has a great success 1 from 1 up there, and I think even the chair owned that slot of the Rocky Turf Club up there. So he'll be looking forward to, I think, having Star Tontes in his corner this time. So some great racing up in and around that, and you know, hopefully they'll get some big people on the day that support the event.
Yeah, sure. And speaking of regional Queensland, the Battle of the Bush series is back again, and the heats of those have started at some of the regional centres, and all roads lead to Tats Tiara Day for the final of that.
Yeah, it's a great sort of ending towards the end of the carnival, isn't it? When everyone sort of comes in from the bush, let's say, and you know, having been there last year, it's such a great day, and some great events that sort of run off the back of that as well. So looking forward to seeing what horses make the final field, and then and there's some jockeys as well, and we even have a race caller, I think, that sort of comes in from the bush as well. So you know, I think, you know, all in all, you know, that particular event, and well done to Racing Queensland and everyone involved in making sure that comes to life around Tats Tiara Day.
Yeah, sure does. And also, obviously, the carnival in general, as you mentioned, some Southern Raiders. There's some big names that have been tossed about for some of the feature events. Obviously, the Hollandale, which is going to be run at the Sunshine Coast Turf Club this year, as opposed to the normal running at the Gold Coast Turf Club. Some big names heading up for that one.
And I think, you know, just in the name Coast to Coast Race Day, I think it is. So, you know, I think Sunny Coast Turf Club supporting the work that the Gold Coast Turf Club have done in the past, and, you know, hopefully just 1 year that they can have the Hollandale. I know, talking to the CEO of the Gold Coast, Steve Lyons, I think that's the plan. So,
Yep.
but I think you look at the opportunity around the Hollandale. Zaki, obviously, Cascadia and Flying, both of those are sort of committed to coming up, as well as you know, Chris Waller bringing his Raiders up with a tissue, Yonkers, No Compromise, all sort of planned to come up on that particular race day at the Sunshine Coast. So no doubt will be a great day, and you know, well done to John Miller and his team up at the Sunny Coast. I think it'll be well received up there, and looking forward to seeing some great horses run on the day.
Yeah, great opportunity for people at the Sunshine Coast. Obviously, they have feature meetings throughout the year, but just another one added to the calendar that they can step out and see some of these great horses in the flesh. Also, Giga Kick, some big news around him coming up for the carnival also.
Well, he's committed to the 10,000 at the moment, so you know, which is great. You obviously saw what he did last start, and I don't think 1400 or 1350 is too much trouble. So, so yeah, looking forward to seeing Giga Kick up here, and then we lead into the Doomben Cup the week after, and then Derby, Kingsford Smith Cup the week after that, just before we start to look at Stradbroke Day. So it's just, you know, it's just becoming such a wonderful carnival spread around, you know, a few racetracks, which is great, and a really great time to get people out to the races, and there's some great hospitality packages out there as well. So make sure you look up the race clubs through that carnival and support them where you can.
Yeah, very good. Lots going on and off the track with the Winter Carnival ramping up. And be remiss of us to not also mention the Magic Millions National Sale, which obviously covers weanlings, yearlings, broodmares as well. So there's it's a big one there for the Magic Millions.
I think last count there was about 1,500 horses that were going through. So well done to Barry Bowditch and the team with Magic Millions. I think there's some great buys for everyone at that particular sale, and looking forward to seeing it all come out over the next few weeks and leading into May. And you know, whether it's you know, the breeding side you're looking at, or you know, those early wheelings all the way through, you know, some great purchases as I said. So make sure you support where you can.
All right, well, I think that's pretty much a wrap. So with you departing, let's just question without notice, but just reflecting on your time, what is there something that's given you the most satisfaction in your time, in your 2 years establishing the Qtoa, or something that you're most proud of?
Well, I think we've always wanted to make it sustainable from day one, and our ability to sort of tap into areas like equine welfare where we can, and talk to as many members and owners that we can across the state was sort of the original setup and what we wanted to do. So, so the initial sort of setup of it was, I guess, for me, paramount. We've had some great supporters. I've had some really great chairs, starting with Alex Panklis on to Peter Tye, and a committee that's been really supportive in letting me do my thing effectively. And then working with the likes of yourself, Adam, thank you for everything you've done, and Jane, who's done some wonderful things on membership. I think there's some really great opportunities to take the next step. I think, you know, without an owners association, we don't get to influence decisions at the table with the likes of Racing Queensland or the Minister, and we've got relationships, and great relationships, with both of those parties. So I think it's really important that we're able to continue on with the owners association and work with our partners, and we need our partners to keep ourselves sustainable, as I said, and make sure the businesses keep going. And I think, you know, launching the member packs, and so a number of things like that's been great, but our ability to communicate to owners is the most important thing moving forward. And so if you're looking at this, or you're looking at the video and you haven't signed up even, there's a free membership. Make sure you sign up and get your email address in so we can talk to you a lot more.
Yeah, well said, and once again, thanks for all your efforts in getting the Qtoa off the ground and to where it is today, and hopefully everyone else that's still involved can continue off the work that you've done to set it all up.
Thanks, Adam. Cheers, mate.
All right, well, thanks for everyone for watching, and we'll stay tuned. We'll be in touch next month.